Okay, so you know how we all have that fear, right? Like completely messing up in front of an audience.
Oh,
Yeah, like
yeah.
the microphone cuts out mid-sentence.
Oh, right.
Or,
Trip and fall on your way up to the stage.
exactly. Or maybe even worse, the audience accidentally gets an unplanned peek behind the curtain. And by peek, I mean bathroom noises.
Oh, no. You're talking about Tony Parkin, right?
Exactly.
Uh,
You know, from that blog post, flushed with success.
oh, those stories are legendary.
Right. Talk about cringeworthy. But you know what? Underneath all that,
Hmm.
he actually makes some really good points about handling the unexpected when you're presenting. So today, we're going to do a little deep dive into his experiences.
Sounds good to me.
So picture this. It's like the early 2000s. Conference tech was a bit, shall we say, less predictable.
Definitely. Still finding its feet.
Yeah, and Tony's about to give this big presentation. But first, nature calls, right? Pre-presentation jitters.
Happens to the best of us,
Totally. So he's washing his hands, feeling those pre-speech nerves.
right?
And here's the keynote speaker wrapping up on stage. Applause, laughter, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, I see where this is going.
And it dawns on him.
The microphone was still on.
Oh, yeah. The whole time.
The entire audience heard everything.
Pretty much. I mean, can you imagine?
And the poor keynote speaker probably had no idea.
Right. I mean, talk about an unforgettable presentation. But here's the thing that gets me. Tony doesn't freak out. He just rolls with it, walks onto that stage, and launches right into his talk.
It's like the audience has no idea what you were planning to say, so.
Exactly. No harm, no foul, right? But before we get to his second story, and trust me, it's even better, I gotta say, I love how Tony can just laugh at himself.
Me too. I think that's what makes him such an engaging speaker, even when things go a bit sideways.
100%. He's not afraid to be a little vulnerable, you know?
Which honestly is so refreshing. It makes him so much more relatable.
Absolutely. Nobody wants to listen to a robot, right? And there's a real lesson there about authenticity in public speaking.
Totally. It really does. Makes you realize that nobody's perfect, right?
So true. And speaking of things not going according to plan, Tony tells this other story. Same deal. Another conference, another pre-talk bathroom break.
Let me guess, more microphone mishaps?
Not this time. This one involves one of his trademark pale blue suits.
Ugh. The infamous blue suits. Didn't he get those for a steal at some crazy sale?
Yeah, like 5 suits for 25 quid each or something.
Sounds too good to be true, almost.
Right. Almost like they were cursed.
Huh.
Because, well, here we go. So he's at the urinal.
Oh boy.
And not just any urinal, mind you. One of those fancy automatic ones.
I've had some near misses with those myself.
Right. So Tony's doing his business, and bam! The thing goes off like a geyser. Full-on Niagara Falls situation.
Oh.
And remember, we're talking Manchester, England here.
Ah, right. Famous for that robust water pressure.
Exactly. So poor Tony, drenched.
No way. His suit was ruined.
Well, let's just say, not exactly the pale blue he was going for anymore, and the presentation is like minutes away.
Oh my gosh, most people would have just panicked.
Right. But not Tony Parkin. He sees a high-powered hand dryer on the wall, and this stool strategically placed nearby.
Wait, what? You're kidding? He didn't.
Oh, he did. Picture this. Tony Parkin, minutes before his talk, basically aiming this industrial-strength hairdryer.
Yeah.
Well, you could imagine.
And it worked.
Worked like a charm. Turns out those cheap suits dried pretty fast.
You have got to be kidding me. That's amazing.
Right. And you know the best part?
Yeah.
The audience had no idea. It's like we get so caught up in our own heads about these potential disasters, but half the time, nobody even notices.
Right.
We build it up so much in our minds, but most of the time, the audience is completely oblivious.
They really are. And I think that's actually a really important takeaway from all of this. It's like,
Yeah.
things will go wrong, right? It's inevitable.
Oh, 100%.
But it's not really about the mishap itself. It's how you respond that makes all the difference.
It's that whole idea of staying adaptable, rolling with the punches.
Exactly. The audience doesn't want you to fail, you know? They're actually rooting for you up there.
That's so true.
And I think when you can be a little vulnerable, a little willing to laugh at yourself, it makes you so much more human, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like with the whole blue suit fiasco.
Yeah.
You gotta laugh, right?
Absolutely. And honestly, I think we all connect more with speakers who don't take themselves too seriously.
100%. Plus, let's be real. We all love a good story.
They do.
And it's always the ones with a little mishap, a little unexpected twist that we remember.
Totally. I mean, I'm never going to forget Tony Parkin in those pale blue suits.
Me neither.
Yeah.
So next time you're freaking out about a presentation, just think of Tony, take a deep breath, and remember, It could always be worse.
So much worse. Embrace the chaos, be yourself, and hey, if a bathroom mishap does happen...
At least you'll have a killer story to tell.
Exactly.
Well, that about wraps things up for our deep dive today. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.